Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Jennifer EIREEN from the Web of Wonder, and we are being so divinely guided right now. And it's finally time. Yes, it's finally time. And in this video, I'm going to share more about what this full moon in Capricorn is bringing us, some of the challenges and the beautiful, beautiful alignments that are happening right now. So let me start off by just dipping quickly into the Uranus conjunction with Mars that we have already been experiencing on the 15th of July or the 16th, depending on your location. And this intense conjunction that was also integrating the energy of the fixed star Algol, which is known as the Medusa star, and how this energy has really been liberating us. It's the intense peak moment of release, of change, of just sudden knowing, of sudden doing, of sudden courage, of sudden new information, of new electricity, of a sudden rewiring in your brain, of a sudden eruption of energy that has been locked in and repressed or changed and demonized, somehow now emerging again, wanting to tell the true story, wanting to share the truth of the story. So Uranus is really also Prometheus, is an energy that is called the Great Liberator. It's a huge liberating force. And Mars is known as the warrior, is known for having a dramatic ego, is known for being able to tap into the energies of anger, of heat, of fire that can also get too intense and burn. But that burning is also ultimately the sun's force that is able to burn away layers of the old, that is able to turn something that was alive into ashes, and those ashes are then again able to provide nutrients back into the soil. This is happening Taurus. So some things are being burned away and have been burned away. But ultimately, what is left over from that will be regenerative. The earth is inherently regenerative. You are inherently regenerative. And that means that you are able to continue to generate what you want in your life. And with the integration of Algol and Medusa, this energy is really asking us to figure out what have we been demonizing. Figure out why. Hold the mirror. If we're afraid to look at it, then let's look at it through that mirror. That will cause us to not be turned into stone, but that will cause us to be able to look in the eye of what we're afraid of, but see it also through our own reflection. And then understand what was behind that story. What was behind that demon? What caused that demon to become a demon? In the story, Medusa is actually turned into this monster that now it is known for because something horrible happened to Medusa. Yeah? She was a priestess who was violated. She was raped, and she was then punished for that having happened to her, which is totally insane. And something that happens still all over the world today, unfortunately. And it is this energy of something happening that is not at its own fault, but then being punished for being that thing, for having been used in a certain way. And so we're in a process of shedding the layers of those stories, shedding the layers of those understandings, and reclaiming that energy. By shedding those layers, we are freeing up the core energy that is actually then available for you to move, for you to innovate, for you to change, for you to really become that liberating force again, that Uranian force, which is connected to the house 11, which is connected to Aquarius, which is connected to the big humanitarian awareness and the bigger cycles, the bigger pictures, being able to outcome and outgrow the personal story, the ego story, being able to bring back in the perspectives that go beyond just the self. Uranus is a planet that is connected to the transpersonal experience. And A lot of this will be playing out also in the transpersonal realm. And I think we're in a moment where we're really not just called to, but also more able to detach some of those personal ego stories and actions coming from that and bring it into the transpersonal meaning again. Therefore reclaiming and purifying some of that innocence. For me, Uranus is connected to the flower of the daisy. And the flower of the daisy is really an inner child totem for me. It is an emblem of innocence. It's in that innocence that we can find true change. It's in that innocence that we can find the true creative force that comes naturally, that comes from the earth, from the body, that comes out of us and through us, that we birth into existence from a natural way. So that being said, this energy has already kind of prepared us and paved the way. And this full moon is a special full moon because it's the third moon we have in the Cancer-Capricorn axis. So it's the second full moon. The first one was on June 22nd or 21st, and it was in degree 1. Then we had a new moon right in the middle, and now we have a full moon in 29 degrees. So we've explored the whole spectrum of Capricorn, the whole spectrum of Cancer now. And especially with the moon in Capricorn, we are exploring those themes. We're exploring Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn. We are exploring the topics of mastery, of dedication, of commitment, of limitation in all ways. How can limitation be helpful? Where is limitation awful? How is commitment going to bring you forwards in life? And where are you committing to things that are restraining you? And what are you dedicating yourself to? How conscious are you about those? What are the structures in your life serving for? And where are structural changes necessary to bring upon enlightenment, to bring upon movement? And also, how can you shift from certain structures of authority back to your own inner authority? And we are right now really asked to make a grave change, a huge change within how we emit the Capricorn energy in our life. How are you contributing to structures? And if you're still contributing in exactly the same way as you have been in June 22nd, then maybe it's time to remind yourself that if you want things to move, you gotta move. If you want things to change, you gotta change. If you want the world to shift, you gotta shift. And so let me talk about some of the aspects that are happening with this full moon. We have the moon in Trine with Mars. And this is incredible because Mars has just been such a loud vocal part of the conjunction with Uranus, that Mars energy has really been asking us to listen. It's wanting to show us something. Now with this trine and the full moon, we are in a natural, beautiful, harmonious, flowing state of integrating that Mars energy. And Mars is moving from Taurus into Gemini. So Mars is going to be in 0 degrees of Gemini. So it's a trine, but it's already in the air sign, which is interesting because it's bringing some air energy into that earthy trine. So it's asking for some mutability. It's asking for some flexibility. It's asking to integrate the information, not just through mere brute physical means, physical forces, but it's asking us to integrate those actions through a way that is more fluid and flexible, that is more coming from the nervous system, integrating those changes in the systems of communication, into the systems of information. And also integrating them in the different levels of awareness, the different dimensions. So Uranus is still kind of close. It's in 26 degrees. The moon is in 29 degrees, so there's also still a trine there. So these archetypal forces speaking, they are still talking. They are still very loud, and they are really showing us the way, showing us how to be different. So you may already be feeling very different. It may be dawning on you already. And I invite you to embrace this energy. Because again, as I mentioned, Uranus is the great liberator. And sometimes liberation can feel scary when our constructs and our restrictions have become a safe space from a place of craving stability, craving security, and from a place of working with what has been there. So now things will radically change, and that physical feeling of safety may have to adapt and find a new way of interpreting its surroundings. But that is a process that will naturally happen, and you will be able to find a new way, to find a feeling of safety. But remember that these feelings of safety are really only temporary. It's the same kind of safety that we feel when we are birthed into this lifetime, but ultimately we know that one day our bodies will be gone and we will actually change forms again. But for a momentary time, we do feel a sense of safety, but from a bigger perspective, that safety is really just an illusion. But what it does is it provides you a feeling, provides you with courage, with relaxation, and it provides you with the desire to act, to move, to do. Another aspect that we have right now is that the moon is in direct conjunction with Pluto. What more can I say about this? If you know anything about astrology, you will know that Pluto is the lord of the underworld, the lord of karma. Saturn is also the lord of karma, by the way. So we have a really strong karmic topics that may be highlighted right now. And they are karma because karma means the consequence, of the cause and the effect. So these are topics that are highlighting the effects of what has been playing out in your life, what has been going on in your life. And those effects are now released. When we release karma, we change how the story has been written. And the only way the story has been written, because you are the one writing it. And when you take that information from the subconscious and bring it up into your awareness, you can understand how to rewrite it. So that's what's happening right now. And this is happening not just on personal levels. Everything is always happening on a collective level as well. We can see that in the world. We can see that when we notice all of the things that are happening. We have a lot of tension. We have a lot of sudden eruptions. We have a lot of peak violence. We have a lot of asking the questions of what is right, what is wrong, of trying to figure out if we should take sides or if we should listen to everybody's perspective and if we should be more loud or more relaxed or more silent. It's a very confusing time where we are really we're kind of just trying everything and then being brought back into the space that we have to ask ourselves, why are we struggling so much for certain powers? And where does the true power actually come from? And what types of power actually nourish not just the self, but the all, and find a place of inner harmony with your own power struggles. Find a place of inner harmony with the power struggles that are going on in the world. Just noticing how those power struggles, how those power games have kind of served as a sense of emotional nourishment, and noticing where that needs to be changed, noticing where it's not nourishing at all, and what stories are being played out here. And when we all do our collective work, we do our inner work, and vice versa. So when we go out into the world and we want to be the bringers of change, it's really crucial and important that we always ask ourselves as well and check in with ourselves as well. Where am I still maintaining those systems, those structures that I'm outwardly fighting against? Where am I demanding change, but I'm actually not applying that change in my own life? And working in both of those areas simultaneously, working outside in the collective realm, in the political, social, economical, environmental realm, and working in your inner body, your inner world, your private life, in your family systems, your family constellations, your social systems, in your microcosmos. And that change will happen simultaneously. This Pluto is really bringing up a lot of topics, a lot of questions, and maybe a bit of unclarity, because it's traveling so much back and forth, and right now it's moving backwards into Capricorn, where it has been already and finally moved out of after so many years, that now we're just really confronted again with some of these issues. But eventually Pluto is on the way into a different life, a different system. We're evolving. And that is what Pluto is representing to us. Because Pluto has already been in Aquarius further along, is now moving backwards, but will then enter into Aquarius in November again, and ultimately travel through the next 20 years. So it's kind of the last time Pluto is dipping into this Capricorn energy. Right now is a moment where we really find that inner emotional security, so that when that happens, we will not succumb to the old structures again, but we will already have borne out a fresh new sense of adaptation, a fresh new way of soothing, a fresh new way of tending to our emotional needs. So one other major aspect with this full moon is that the sun and the moon are standing in a square to Chiron. So we call this a T-square, the sun and the moon, and then here's Chiron. Chiron has been a huge topic this whole year and beyond, because of the North Node conjunctions. So we've learned so much about our Chiron already. And this is kind of like a peak culmination where everything is divinely orchestrated to really usher in the new physical world, the new physical changes, the new you, and the new humanity eventually. But it's a slow process, yeah. Just as it takes time for trees to grow, it takes time for plants to go through their cycle of germination, and certain nutrients are needed, and then it takes time to grow. This square to Chiron is really bringing that question again. Where we have a square, we usually have an inner conflict and inner tension, and we're questioning something ourselves. So we're questioning again those wounds, and particularly we are questioning the stories that we've created around them, and how much have we actually healed? Where are we still holding on maybe? Where has the wounding perhaps become a structure for us or a system? Where have we perhaps been claiming a sense of victimhood to bring us a sense of inner authority that we are somehow otherwise not getting? Where is that sense of victimhood, that sense of wounding, bringing us a feeling that we needed in order to move forwards in a certain system approach? Or where are we maybe feeling like the system is constantly touching our wound, and then finding ways to shift out of that perspective? So maybe allowing that story of victimhood to dissolve, because you recognize that you are in fact now a new being, a new person. And that does not mean erasing your story, but it changes the influence that your story has on your actions. So what you are doing by becoming the new you is not forgetting everything that you have been, but actually changing the way you utilize the information. It's not about deleting things. It's not about bypassing your story and what has happened, or anyone's story, because that has happened. It's important to acknowledge that. And it's part of your experience, and it's important. That information is valuable. The question is, are you applying it in the valuable way? Or are you applying it in a way in which it keeps you stuck? So there's one last aspect that I would like to mention with this full moon. We also have the moon in sextile to Neptune. Yeah, Neptune is in Pisces. And Saturn is also in Pisces. Saturn is the ruler of this full moon of Capricorn. So Saturn is teaching us already about these energies, and this has been a longer process. Neptune has also been there for quite a while because it's a really far away planet that moves very slowly from our perspective. It actually moves really fast through the universe. But this Neptune in sextile to the moon is bringing us a really deep quality of intuitive insight, of psychic awareness. We may be receiving a lot of information right now through the dreams. You may be receiving a lot of feelings of synchronicity, or that you're just guided to flow where you need to go. Or maybe you just have an intense creative ability right now to express through art or through whatever your creative act is. You may also feel that Neptune is just really bringing a sense of compassion, is opening up your ability to feel divinely loved, which then in turn can kind of soothe the emotional body, and therefore it allows us to better listen from all kinds of perspectives. But this is a really beautiful and supportive aspect right now that is just opening up our ability to really dream, to really vision. So this right now is a moment where you are really supported in focusing on those visions and focusing on those dreams for your life, and understanding more in an intuitive way how to co-create that existence into reality, how to manifest that, how to contribute to that. I feel that overall right now the energy is so unexpected and sudden, but at the same time there's a lot of humor. And I personally have been working again with the medicine of humor and laughing consciously, because it is medicine and it is really able to soothe. It is able to break the barriers, to break the ice, to radically change and shift emotions. For me, Uranus is also kind of the fool who is just not so interested in having a personal identity, but is able to just shift in and out of whatever character will bring the most humor. And I feel right now we are blessed with so many visions, with such a heightened state of clairvoyance, claircognizance, all of the clairs, clairsentience and clairaliens, and just really utilizing our sensitive abilities. Yeah, the non-physical abilities, because they extend beyond the body. They may be really heightened right now, able to guide you, to show you, to support you. And it's also when we co-create with those forces of life, those forces of nature, that we are feeling like we're able to ride the waves, ride the dragons, ride that opportunity, ride the gift, and understand this force is ultimately an element that is neither good nor bad, but you can choose what to do with it. Somehow the topic of surfing has come up so many times this week, and it's like that. It's you have a whole ocean of possibilities available, and some people decide to never go in, and that's okay. And some people decide that they want to play and goof around, and they want to go bathing, and they want to go surfing, and they want to understand how to catch the waves. When those waves are not there, when they're not perfect, and you're not able to surf in that moment, it's not your fault. It's not anybody's fault. It's just nature. It's just life. But when they are there, it's about embracing that, utilizing that opportunity, jumping in the water, or already being there because you've waited, because you showed patience. If anybody of you surfs, please feel free to share how surfing has maybe impacted your ability to work with emotions, your ability to embrace the divine flow of life, I would be super interested in hearing about that. I've only tried it like once. Other people, they don't like surfing, they're not interested, they just want to be on a ship and travel, but from a different perspective. They don't want to be in the water all the time, they want to be kind of more on top. So everyone has their own way of navigating. And some people just like to witness from a mountain peak. And as I said, some people are desert people, and that's fine. Everyone has a different way of embracing life, and that is also Pluto. So right now it's also connecting back with that remembering of, yes, this is maybe my karma, this is maybe my evolutionary path, this is maybe actually something else, and I need to shed that. And really feeling a deepened sense, a deepened guidance of yourself to who you are and who you wanted to be in this lifetime. I'm hoping that that is how it feels for you. Let me just share one thing to close off, because I've mentioned this a couple times in the other videos. We have the third full moon, and this means that now the moon cycles are flipping again. So for the past almost a year or so, we have been having first a full moon in one zodiacal axis, and after that the new moon in the same sign. Now that is shifting again. And so the next new moon will then already have moved and be in Leo. So now we have first a new moon and then a full moon in the same topic of life, in the same energetic bandwidth of frequency. The whole last year we have been having first a full moon and then a new moon. I reflected about this last year, and for me it felt like when there's a shift in the menstrual cycle, for people who are menstruating may know this, that if you ovulate at a certain time of the month and you bleed at the other time, when that cycle kind of changes, it feels different and it has a different possibility. It opens up a different way of working with those energies. So now I feel the same with these moon cycles. And to me, it feels as if the last year we have been first reaching kind of a moment of clarity, a moment of focus. We've been setting an intention. We've been working with the mind and the body combined. We've been understanding something and seeing already. And then with the new moon afterwards, we've been integrating that energy into the body, integrating it into the darkness, into the shadow self. We've been taking all of that focus in and really embracing it, digesting it, nurturing ourselves through that change. And it's kind of like we've been first receiving the information, and then we understand and we just let it flow through the body and work in the body. And now I feel with that change, we have first, again, a new moon, which is the moment of darkness, which is the moment of intuitive sensing. I feel it as a moment of first cleansing, first shedding, first purifying, and kind of sensing and feeling what may come, knowing what may come, but not so cognitively, but just kind of through the sensorial tract. And then with the full moon comes a moment where we then act, where we then release, where we then decide, reflect, and illuminate, and where that information gets integrated, but not into the emotions, but then it gets integrated into our cognitive sense. We are able to understand better why it's happening, and then we're able to utilize that peak tension. I feel almost as if we're shifting from having been geared in day vision, where we start a cycle with the day vision, and our eyes maybe, and our spiritual eyes may be accustomed to seeing things in a certain light. And now in this new phase, where we first have the new moons again of a sign, we are starting off with the night vision. And so that may require a change, a little bit of getting accustomed to. The eyes may need to adapt, and things may look a different way again. So yeah, I feel like this brings us back into this empowering sense of really embracing that creation from the darkness, from the unknown. That's a key quality that we will have to embrace moving forwards in this time with all of these changes, is that we will have to remember this creation force that lies within the darkness, within the unknown, may feel a bit unpleasant when we are geared to wanting to always see and understand. But ultimately, this is the divine force that has created all of life. To really embrace that moving forward, so that not every time when something is really unclear, you get scared and you jump back into the old way of doing, but that you're able to embrace this feeling of unknown and then make your way into the peak illumination. So I hope that this resonated with you. I hope that this brought you some clarity and some inspiration for how to move forwards in this time, and that you feel connected to your own intuition and restored with a sense of spark of excitement. If you enjoyed this and you resonate with it, then feel free to share it or share your own stories in the comment. I would love to hear how these energies are manifesting for all of you. I will share all of my links for social media below, where you can find me, reach me, book a reading, or join the community chats. And with that, I will say goodbye. I wish you a beautiful journey. I send you a big hug, lots of love, and until next time, thank you for listening.